Hello and welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show all about comfort foods and horror movies. I'm your host, Artem Yatsanov. On every episode of Scary Movie and a Sandwich, my guests and I pair a perfect sandwich with a carefully curated horror film, and together we dive deep and digest and dissect the hidden layers and hidden meanings of both the sandwich and the movie. Our show is recorded at Key Frame Studios in sunny Hollywood, California, and is produced by Craig Lewis. Our show is edited by Zoe Hellings. Zoe Hellings is a filmmaker to watch, working out of Los Angeles, California. And you can follow Zoe's work at zoe.hellings on YouTube and Instagram. Our horror synopsis correspondent is, as always, the intrepid Antonia Lassar. You can follow Antonia's work at Antonia Lassar on Instagram and TikTok, as well as on her podcast, Yenta Pod. And lastly, our original artwork comes from our master of visuals, Luther Thompson. You can follow Luther's work at Tats Thompson on Instagram. We're so excited to have you with us on Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show for anyone who's ever been afraid or hungry. Enjoy.
It was a really funny moment because like the movie theater was mostly empty, so there's like a few people, maybe like 20-30 people in the theater. The first time you see Godzilla like waddle onto the screen, because he looks like a fucking chicken, right?
So fucking
He's
weird.
so goofy looking.
Yeah.
I just hear this guy go, "What the fuck?" Like
Welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, cozy, easy listening, easy watching podcast all about cozy foods and scary films. With me, your host, Artem. With me today is a fantastic guest. They are an actual play performer. They are a writer. They are a game designer. They're a community organizer. They're kind of like one of my favorite people to like ask like, hey, what like cool new tabletop role-playing game should I play? And I'll get like an incredible variety of like both fascinating and completely intriguing, completely like perplexing recommendations that are all like really, really exciting to explore. You can find them streaming. You can find them in one of the best places in all of Los Angeles, Geeky Teas in Burbank. Folks, with me today is Darby Pak.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. We're trucking along.
We are trucking along. Darby, did I nail all of your accolades? I feel like you are just perpetually doing stuff.
I think you've given me too many accolades.
Wow.
But yeah, no, hit all of them, I think.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. I'm sure you're being a little humble, but Darby, I'm super excited to have you on the show. When we talked about this, Darby recommended this movie almost like immediately. I didn't realize that there was a secret agenda in that Darby is very, very into this film. But also, Darby has introduced us to a fantastic sandwich. Darby, could you please tell us what we are watching and what we are eating today?
We are watching Shin Godzilla. It's the 2016 Godzilla movie that came out from Japan. And we are eating Dan Super Subs.
Dan Super Subs.
Yeah. I got the Mamma Mia, which is just this super sized Italian sandwich. And I'm actually not sure what you ordered.
I also got the Mamma Mia.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And Craig, our producer in the studio, we're coming to you live from Key Frame Studios, is going to let us know all about the classic turkey and cheese. Hey. So Dan Super Subs. I love that it's called the Mamma Mia because I feel like it's like that's a Godzilla sandwich, you know?
And that's what I feel every time I see the jumbo-sized version.
Wow.
I'm like, Mamma Mia! Oh my god!
Mamma Mia.
This is a toddler-sized sandwich.
Like, as advertised, Mamma Mia. Amazing. Okay, can't wait. We're gonna jump into those sandwiches. Jump into them. Just tear them up very shortly. But in the meantime, folks, if you have not seen Shin Godzilla 2016, I feel like also probably in America maybe it's like less. Like commonly,
there's an American cut of it as well, so there's like two different cuts of this movie. So most people see the shorter cut, the American cut.
I first started watching it and it had a dub, and I sometimes I really struggle with dubbed, but like I don't struggle with dubbed like anime, but I struggle with dubbed like foreign films. Like I'd rather hear the regular voice because it's just. I'm just like, I think I'm losing something in the nuance here. But I started watching it, and then you were like, no, by the way, this is the real shit right here, and I got the link. So you can find, I think it's like called Film Archive or something, or
Internet Archive.
Internet Archive, yeah. But Shin Godzilla 2016 from Japan, fascinating film. Can't wait to chat about it. If you have things going on in your life and you just can't get around to watching Shin Godzilla, no worries. We've got an all original synopsis for you for Shin Godzilla 2016 right now.
Hey losers, it's the best part of the episode. C'est moi. I'm Antonia. I'm perfect because I don't watch scary movies. You are freaks because you do. I am also married to Artem, so good for me. What a tush, am I right? He has asked me to come here and read you a synopsis every episode. If you're a longtime sandwicher, you know the drill. I don't watch scary movies. I haven't read this synopsis. I hate scary movies. I'm gonna offer a little input. I can't resist. Okay, let's begin. Shin Godzilla 2016, a Godzilla movie. I'm picturing Lego. Shin Godzilla begins not with a roar, but with confusion. When a strange eruption bubbles up from Tokyo Bay, government officials scramble to respond, their meetings multiplying faster than decisions can be made. The film's ensemble cast, from low-ranking bureaucrats to cabinet ministers, becomes the engine of the story. Reflecting Japan's tangled political machinery as much as its human resilience. So far, I love it. I love the concept of movies that take like a real disaster and then really like work out the minutia of how systems function within those disasters. Like The Last of Us, I didn't really like because they just spent the whole time killing zombies, when what I really wanted to know is like, what's the bureaucracy of the like zombie survivalist cult in Utah? I'm like, what is the government doing? Do you know what I mean? So
waste management.
Yeah. No, how do they deal with waste management? How do you deal with waste management in a disaster? So I'm loving it so far. Deputy Chief Cabinet Secretary Rando Yaguchi, played by Hiroki Hasegawa, emerges as a clear-eyed pragmatist amid the chaos, leading a team of scientists, civil servants, and defense officials racing to understand the impossible creatures surfacing before them. Oh, so he's coming slowly. Okay, I like that. Ano's direction transforms mundane conference rooms into war rooms of tension and urgency, cutting rapidly between overlapping dialogue, documents, and screens that capture both the absurdity and precision of bureaucratic crisis management. I want to see more documents about real crisis management. I think that's cool. Do you remember when the CDC put out like a how to survive the zombie apocalypse guide? I thought that was very fun.
This is the real thing?
Yeah, look it up. Then the monster arrives. Fun. An unholy, okay, Sam Smith, an unholy mutating organism that lumbers through canals and city streets, leaving carnage in its wake.
Get to a Sam Smith soundtrack.
Yeah. Godzilla's first form. First form? A grotesque guild creature. Oh, that's different than I was expecting. Guild creature with bulging eyes and leaking blood. Okay, very placenta. Slithers through the city like an evolutionary nightmare. I like that. As the military's weapons prove useless, the creature metamorphosizes in real time. Standing upright, its skin splitting and glowing with volcanic heat. Tanks melt, bridges collapse, and waves of fire consume entire districts as the newly evolved Godzilla unleashes torrents of atomic energy. Wow, I love the concept. That's so intense. How gory is this? Like, are we seeing individual people burning alive, or are we just sort of seeing like streets being sort of like leveled in a sort of superhero movie way where it's like, yeah, civilians?
They definitely do a good job of making you see the whole, but I don't think they ruminate on it, and you're usually seeing the creature's macro attacks.
Right. It's not like, let's get to know this postal worker on his way to work. After he left his sick daughter at home, he decides to take the day off to go get her favorite balloon. And then he unfortunately buys a balloon as Godzilla turns into an atomic bomb.
As we all know, Godzilla hates balloons.
Okay, so it's not that.
It's not that.
The destruction is staggering and eerily methodical, captured through wide documentary-like shots and visceral special effects that make the devastation feel both spectacular and sickeningly real. Higuchi's effects team and Ano's stark visual framing combine to make the monster less a creature of rage and more an elemental force of nature, reshaping Japan's landscape with terrible inevitability.
Yeah, the creature like looks demented. Like it kind of like it makes me think about like, what if you just had a lizard that was, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
This, in a weird way, I kind of love the concept of like a monster who's just like a natural cataclysm, as opposed to like a monster that's evil or that has an agenda. As Tokyo burns, Yaguchi's team works frantically to decipher Godzilla's biology. Ooh, this is so fun. And then it becomes a scientist movie, uncovering that it can adapt and even reproduce if left unchecked. Reproduce! When Godzilla unleashes his purple-tinged atomic beam from his eyeballs or mouth.
Think about.
Wow. Slicing skyscrapers and vaporizing aircraft in a breathtaking display of annihilation, the film reaches its apocalyptic zenith. Good words. Yet amid the destruction, Shin Godzilla remains deeply human, a portrait of collective endurance and bureaucratic evolution under pressure. This is the kind of gossip that I want about disasters, actually.
Your new favorite movie?
Whoa. Pull back. I'm not interested in watching it. I'm interested in living it, obviously. In its haunting finale, Godzilla stands petrified in the ruins of the capital, frozen mid-mutation. Its tail sprouting human-like figures. What? A final chilling hint that humanity and monstrosity may be one and the same. Through its ensemble storytelling, relentless pacing, and visionary imagery, Shin Godzilla reimagines the kaiju myth, not just as a spectacle of destruction, but as a sharp, unsettling reflection on politics, science, and survival in the modern age. Wait, so do they kill him at the end?
Yeah, so they figure out something to get him to stop transforming, and they literally do just kind of figure out how to like counteract him so he just freezes. And off of its body are spreading off what look like smaller versions of itself, but like the human side. So you're like, oh my god, this thing was about to sort of spread its seed across this town, and it would just been all of these tiny Godzillas running around, running amok, and they were just gonna take over everybody. They like,
wow,
we were so close. We were so close.
We were so close.
Toast.
I love the biology of this Godzilla. I love that it like metamorphosizes. Also, it just feels like a biology movie, which I love, where they're just like, what's the biology of this thing? I just love a like biology of disaster thing. So this sounds cool. I don't want to watch it. I want to be clear. I don't want to watch it. Because it sounds scary. I don't like tense. I'm tense enough every second of every day. You know what I mean? I don't need to be more tense. But I do like reading the synopsis. That was kind of fun. Okay, so sandwiches. Have a great sandwich. The rest of the episode is really gonna get worse from here. I've got to be honest. I'm the highlight. But I respect you for listening all the way through. And I love you so much. Okay, bye.
Wow, that was legit. Nailed it. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As the preeminent scholar of Shin Godzilla 2016, do you approve?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
100%.
Okay. Well, now that we know a little bit about this movie from the synopsis, and we'll get to know the sandwiches in a second, let's talk Shin Godzilla 2016.
Mm-hmm.
To start off with, like, how does this movie arrive in your life, and how did you become such a huge fan of it?
So I actually, my major in college was history, and I was struggling with picking a paper topic, and my professor, offhandedly on a whim, the class was called Modern Japan and it was Japanese history class. He was just like, there's this new Godzilla movie out. It's in theaters. You should go see it and write about it. And I was like, I mean, okay. I had never really seen a Godzilla film beforehand. Like,
really? Okay.
I've seen snippets of the American Godzilla that come out not that long ago with Bryan Cranston and I forget everyone else in the cast.
Oh, it's the dude who's like Kraven the Hunter now.
Oh God, I guess. But I watched that, and there's a whole whopping, I think, 10 minutes of Godzilla in screen time, and it's mostly about the people.
That movie is, in your estimation, like, what was it about?
It was, a lot of it was about the people drama, which is kind of, interestingly, a big part of how I view Godzilla. But, like, that was the only exposure I'd had to a Godzilla film, really. Wow. Besides knowing about Godzilla, like, in the cultural zeitgeist,
in the
right?
Zeitgeist, yeah.
So then I watched Shin Godzilla in theaters, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I love that film so much. I went back and watched it another 2 times, dragging more people with me every time.
That's amazing.
To not know what Godzilla is just in general would be crazy, right?
Right.
So everyone is kind of expecting like this big monster to kind of
which I think is kind of the fun of it. You're like, what are they gonna do different? How are they going to surprise me? Because I know exactly what Godzilla
and you
looks
see
like.
this like nuclear like
It's got these chicken legs. It's
Uh-huh.
got these weird, like, kind of protruding sort of chicken wing things, the snubs.
Mhm. And it's like neck, and it's like gushing blood.
It's
out of
gushing
its-
blood.
Yeah.
It's also kind of like, it's sort of like not blobular. It's like sort of circular. It kind of feels like it's more flat and round. Rather
Yeah,
than,
like you
it's-
ever see a blobfish? Like
Yes,
blobfish down in
exactly.
the ocean don't look like the way they do when you pull them up because
Right.
they're used to so much pressure, sort of
Uh-huh.
keeping them,
flat
ball shaped
or bowl
right?
shape. Oh,
Or
well,
like-
they're flat when we bring them up.
Yeah, because they look
Oh, okay.
because they're like blood. As soon as they hit the surface, because different pressure and tension and stuff like that. But blobfish don't look like that down there. They
Wow.
they look a little more normal fish like.
It's
But-
so freaky, just the design of it. But then I think the thing that really sticks with you is it's got these big unblinking eyes.
Yeah.
And its just mouth is agape the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Just gaping.
You're like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, and it's like hideous looking, and I
Yeah.
love him so much. He's such a goofy little chicken baby, but he's just so silly looking,
Right. But you expect something different. You expect
menacing.
this like right.
And then you watch him go through these transformations, and then when he marches on, like in like the fully actualized form,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god.
yeah. Oh shit. Well, yeah, she grew up quick.
Yeah, I grew up real big.
Yeah. I thought it was so my exposure with Godzilla is kind of it's similar-ish, is that like culturally, like I know all about Godzilla just because of the zeitgeist. My connection to Godzilla was like when I came to the States, I was like trying to just like soak up all American culture, which meant just like eating a lot of American food, but also just watching a lot of American content.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a lot of Power Rangers. And so like when Power Rangers get into their like big mech suits and they fight I was like, oh, and then like I eventually was just like, oh yeah, like you can't have Power Rangers without Godzilla.
Yeah.
You know, like, or there used to be another show. There used to be a bunch of these like,
Sentai.
Sen-
That's the genre is
the
called.
genre. Yeah, there was one called VR Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
VR Troopers of virtual reality. I've mentioned this to people and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, nobody's seen VR Troopers, but it's like the same thing as Power Rangers, but I guess they fight people in the virtual world. Anyways, point is there was like a whole sense that that's like what Godzilla is like, and then there's this like people kind of hate it, but there's this movie there's a Godzilla by Roland Emmerich in the late 90s with
Yes,
Matthew
is that the one
Broderick.
with Matthew? Yes, and the skinny little raptor Godzilla.
Because there's Godzilla who's walking around New York City, but then Godzilla lays a bunch of eggs, and there's some of these like raptor guys run around. For some reason, there's a scene where they're underneath Madison Square Garden, and they run
Yes.
through a bunch of basketballs, and they're like tripping over the basketballs like they're like giant marbles, essentially. These raptors, like I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It's like Jurassic Park-ish. So like, and then it's all the more modern Godzillas that I was watching. So yeah, so like my exposure is like really piecemeal, and I'm now kind of being like, oh my god, like I want to like get the full lore, like I want to
yeah.
go all the way back.
OG Godzilla is kind of crazy. Like when original Godzilla came out, it's only 9 years after the bombs dropped, like in Japan.
Whoa.
All things considered, really short of
Mhm.
a time period. Between it's like 1954-ish ballpark.
Oh my
It's about
God.
9 years after the
Yeah,
bombs dropped.
I didn't consider that.
When we think about nuclear power and vis-a-vis Japan, we think about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but there's another incident that I think was a big kicking stone towards Godzilla sort of existing. Happened 9 months before Godzilla was released. They were doing atomic hydrogen bomb tests in the Bikini Atoll.
Mhm.
One of the tests, the fallout from this test extended far past their parameters. There was a Japanese fishing boat, the Lucky Dragon number 5, that got caught in the fallout. They didn't know what was happening because nobody knew what the U.S. was doing in the Bikini Atoll.
Right, nobody's like
Right, because
announcing
it's like
this.
super hush hush. But they literally talked about they were fishing, and then suddenly there's like ash falling from the sky, and they don't know what it is, so they're like putting it in their mouths. They're like touching it, and then the first of them start getting really really sick, and
While
they
they're still in the boat.
yeah, they're still in the boat. They're still like, because they don't know what this
Oh
is.
my
And
God.
like, they don't know what's happening. And it's happening hundreds and hundreds of miles away. Like the fallout plume of this was so immense. They go back to Japan. They're really sick, the doctors do some tests, but the Atomic Energy Commission from the US comes in and takes over the whole like operation. They basically they think that the Japanese fishermen are communist spies trying to steal atomic energy like information. So they like
Or
grill-
this is what they decide to like. That's the optics they put on it.
No, they legit thought.
They legit thought
They
this.
legitimately, they were like, oh, we know about this, and they're gonna go away. But they were like so reticent to share any information because they were worried that like the Soviets would get it. So I think I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, but there was like a crew member who died because they wouldn't treat him
Mhm.
and they wouldn't let doctors treat him. He died of like hepatitis.
Oh my god.
They got really sick. Oh, most of them recovered, but that was 9 months before Godzilla, the original Gojira, was released.
Yeah.
And so like present in the film is like such like a like punch in the teeth message over and over again about like anti-nuclear proliferation. They are super.
For sure.
There's like a scene in the first film, in the original film, where this mother and child are like cowering in like this alcove, and she says to her kid, "Don't worry, we'll see daddy soon," before they're like nuclearized and like turned into ash. And it's crazy.
Oh my god.
It's like,
And then to think that like I was just listening to a podcast that was talking about Godzilla movies, but like to think that like you fast forward like 20 or 30 years and there's like a one movie where Godzilla fights 30 different monsters,
Yeah.
and then has like a dance sequence on the moon. Like it goes really far away from like a very dramatic, but I feel it goes through these different evolutions.
yeah, and it's all like, it's interesting watching like Japan's trajectory through history, because like right off of the cuff of the war, most people's opinion of Japan is like, well, they were our enemy, right? We
Yeah.
fought them. Now Japan has sort of radicalized its image into, I mean, it's this cultural icon, right? It's a
Yeah.
cultural superpower in the
Absolutely.
eyes of the world, and most of what people associate with Japan is like anime and Godzilla, and it's interesting to watch this like evolution. Same thing with Godzilla, where Godzilla goes from this monster that's destroying Japan to like get superhero, and like there's
Yeah.
Godzilla's little baby, and like they're teaming up against like King Ghidorah and like all and Mecha Godzilla.
That's right.
But it's all still tied to like the same place. There's some things about Godzilla that always like reign true.
Right.
and,
Let's
like,
talk about that, because I think there's the great canon of Godzilla films, and then this film, but I think the overall thing about this genre, the kaiju, right? Like you've got the Japanese kaiju films, then you've got like the King Kongs and like in the West, and then there's kind of like everything in between, big monsters. Like I think these movies become big because this idea of creature features are really popular, and like and like in the US there's these like giant ant movies and like
some mystery of like these animals that we don't like,
yeah,
things that we think like a lizard is like for the most part, and then seeing something so massive beyond like your imagination.
Yes,
sort
and,
of,
and that's the thing that's like so iconic about this. Huge.
Yeah.
Right. Like bigger is better. Like the bigger, the more it becomes the point of this genre. Something about this like creature is overwhelming, hard to like wrap your mind around. Where did it come from? How could it be so big? How do we stop this? Like all of that stuff. Yeah. Even if when you get extremely goofy with like, was it like the final war, or is it like Destroy All Monsters or whatever? I forget what the movies are, but like by the time you get 50 different kaiju on a screen, the thing is still like, oh, and the humans are like this tiny and they're all fleeing for their lives.
Nature is, it's like the nature versus like modernity thing, where it's like in Shin Godzilla when they're like launching all of these like bombs at Godzilla and it's just like plinking off, right?
Yeah.
Like nature's still finding ways to adapt and like overcome even. Like I don't know, it's interesting to think about like also that this is a natural creature like Godzilla that was affected by super not normal things. Like he went and ate radioactive waste, which is human runoff.
Yep. And in this movie, what I like about it is that it sort of is like, oh, well, and I just realized that Shin just means new. So it really means the new Godzilla. And even though there's been, I think there was the original Godzilla, and then there was a Shin Godzilla back in the day. And I think it was just an American, it was like a version that was made quote unquote palpable for an American audience.
They
like
cut it like a newscaster was like watching in.
That's right.
Which is most Western audiences like familiarity with Godzilla is like that version, because that was what was brought over to the US.
And the Western audience didn't know it as Shin Godzilla. They just thought that that's Godzilla.
Yep.
Right. And like, but for the Japanese audience, they were like, oh, this is
the American version.
The American version.
Yeah.
Well, so this
they cut out a lot of stuff from it too.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was not very pro-American, let's say. I mean, there's a lot of things, even in Shin Godzilla 2, there's a lot of like kind of layered commentary about like American occupation and American involvement. The original Godzilla opens up with a scene that's very similar and very akin to like the Lucky Dragon 5, which is like right on their minds. And something they can point to. So you're like, this is like
They're like, oh,
US.
this is about this
This
thing
is like,
that's like,
this is about
ah,
the U.S.
but-
Like,
yeah.
oh, where did original Godzilla come from? People bombing the shit out of the Bikini Atoll.
Right,
like,
right.
Like,
There
and
is this.
who was bombing the Bikini Atoll? And
Yeah, the radiation. This is, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
And like radiation at this point, 9 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, who has atomic bombs? The U.S. does.
Yeah.
Like, so they sort of cut around some more. Watching a mother and child get vaporized by
That
and
is
turned to
so stark.
an ash mark on the wall.
I gotta watch this. This is.
Original Godzilla is crazy.
It sounds crazy. Like, yeah, everything I heard about it, it just feels sort of like, it feels like it was like revolutionary in a way that they probably like knew. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck people up with this a bit, you know?
Yeah.
In this Shin Godzilla 2016, I thought it was fascinating that they were like, cool, let's just pretend none of those movies happened. We don't know.
Fresh start.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like when in zombie movies they have a zombie and they've never heard
They're
of a
like,
zombie before.
"What's
What is this? What
These
you
are
dead?"
walkers.
They're
These are
walkers.
clickers.
Yeah. And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
And so like with this one, it's modern day, and the way that Godzilla is set up here, my understanding was that like it was some kind of underwater creature that fed on radiation.
Yeah.
And that caused some kind of hyper evolutionary thing that made it grow bigger.
Basically,
So it was originally maybe that weird chicken slug thing.
Yeah.
Right. But then it kept eating and it just grew in size.
yeah, because people were dumping nuclear waste into the ocean,
Right.
where they shouldn't have been dumping it, but like were, and then so that you see like the bite marks out of these barrels as
Yeah.
it's like consuming this energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it originates from. And like the opening scene is like we see that Professor Maki's boat
Right.
where he's just like, sorry, leaves this like
boat's
message
abandoned.
origami, and then jumps off the boat and kills himself. Like,
Yeah. Does he kill himself? Is that
yeah,
like
so the implication is that his boat is empty because he killed himself. Partially because he feels guilty, partially because he's like, fuck you. Like, there's a lot of like layers as to like why
right.
he
Now
like
I remember. Yeah.
but he leaves them with like a chance of hope of
It's like uncertain what why he
Intention.
decides to like take himself out.
yeah,
but
there's a lot
like,
of different meanings, but
yeah.
like regardless, he did take himself out. That's which is why they're like, what the fuck does he mean? What does this all mean?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. There's something about that though. Maybe the idea that if he had stayed alive, he realizes, oh, I would have been blamed for this because it's like he who smelt it dealt it. You know, it's like you found
Yeah.
it. You're probably the problem. You know.
What was it? I think his wife died because of like this thing.
Oh, right. It's a little more tragic, right?
yeah,
It's
a
not
little,
just-
but he's like he got issues.
yeah.
And therapy won't gonna fix that. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to it.
Well, I think we were like already talking about how like this whole franchise, but also this movie is like dealing with, I mean, some pretty big human fears.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is something that it evokes about fear of nature, right? Like, what if there is something? You know, it's like
Something unstoppable that we can't understand. Tsunamis.
right. Well, like, meteorological events, right? Like
Mhm.
hurricanes. You know, but there's also something about it that I always think of these movies as, wow, the scope and scale of destruction to me is like this is the akin to like the outbreak of a virus,
Yeah.
right? And also the fact that Godzilla is like, it's not King Kong, who is like a kind of a basically hairy human and can look frustrated
with, yeah.
and mad and confused. Godzilla's like a lizard,
Yeah.
you know, no expression. We don't know what it's thinking,
Mhm.
and it doesn't seem to be really concerned with us. It's just moving. It's got a plan.
We just happen to be in its way.
Yeah.
In like in natural disasters
Mhm.
is a big one for Shin Godzilla, because one of the things that an image that for Japan is really striking but for an American audience might not be is when you see Yaguchi, the main character. You see him in the blue, you see all of the officials in this blue overalls, right? And you see him standing in the initial destruction of Godzilla's path, right? And you see all this like broken homes and like wood and debris, and you see these officials sort of pawing through the wreckage. That was supposed to be purposefully evocative of 2011, the Fukushima disaster, the tsunami, because part of a huge critique the Japanese public had against the government was that the government was too slow to react. A lot of people got hurt, a lot of people died because the government was there's so much bureaucracy that it had to
Oh my
mulch
gosh.
through.
Yeah, Darby,
so
wow,
the-
this is levels.
And
yeah.
so the image of seeing these government officials finally coming to like ground zero hours and hours and hours after everything happened, like hours after they could have been useful and could have been effective, like that image of like a natural disaster. Like Godzilla is supposed to kind of evoke this thing, a natural thing that is beyond the scope of what humanity was sort of thinking about,
Right.
and the destruction it wreaked.
And the other side of it is like it takes the bureaucrats so long to like leave their office to actually see the destruction firsthand and to realize, oh shit, we really got to respond quicker.
So
the
much
others,
passing of the buck where they're like, this is not my department.
Oh my
Well, it
God.
should be your department.
All of
Well,
those
we
se-
blah 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 this, blah blah that.
all of those scenes where there's 40 people in a room, they're all talking, everybody's got an idea, then it goes right.
And then they're like, we need to move rooms.
department.
We need to move rooms. The constant
We have to go to
changing of rooms.
Right. We need to go to different conference rooms. It's like an actual line, which I thought this is so fucking funny. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, you
But
know.
it's supposed to highlight like the failings of human error here.
Yeah, and there's the flip side of it is that in some ways they could have responded quicker, right? But in Godzilla's case, would a quicker reaction have done anything, right? Like I think there's also something that it's pointing to the fact that like they should have reacted quicker, and also we are facing forces that are much bigger than us. We have to sometimes it's like we have to realize we're smaller.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, their hands are tied by like bureaucracy in a way that they were like, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Until later when they just decide to kind of go rogue.
There's a moment that I thought was really funny. First of all, because at some point the prime minister. And by the way, this is all spoilers because we already know the synopsis.
Redacted.
Redacted. No, the provisional prime minister. I love that actor because he's just he seems so perturbed and sad and so like, oh God, I have to make decisions. Like there's a really funny sequence where they're like, all right, so we're thinking about shooting Godzilla. And he's like, understood. And they're like, okay, we're going to shoot him in this like populated area. And he's like, understood. He's like, we think that all the population has gotten out of there. It's like, understood. He's like, but we're not sure if they are out of there. But if we don't attack now and take the Godzilla out now, Godzilla's going to keep moving this path. He's like, so you have to make a decision. And he's like, what, right now?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you have to make a decision right now. And he's like, what, now? It's just like, yeah, like, and it's such a like poignantly underlines the thing of like, yes, we just need an answer. Should we do this or should we do that? Pick something. And
the lack of decisiveness. Was really, I mean, because like if you think about that early form of Godzilla didn't have that armor, that skin that was so hard to penetrate at the time because he was soft and squishy and fleshy.
Yeah, and he's literally spilling.
Yeah, he's spilling
like,
his blood everywhere because it's like his way of like, what was it?
Like
regulating heat.
Oh. Ooh,
so
okay.
the blood for Godzilla is like a coolant, like in imagine like in a nuclear energy plant, like there's a lot of like water and other like liquids that they're running through to cool the energy and keep it from overheating. That is what the blood was doing. So that's why he kept offshooting the blood.
Wow.
Is because he was dumping the heat.
Darby, did not realize we had a Godzilla biologist in the studio.
I watched a lot of this Godzilla film. It was like dumping heat or like
that's
or because
incredible.
he couldn't regulate it. That's like, and that's why he ran back to the oceans because the water was keeping him cool.
Okay, oh my God, thank you for making sense of that. Yes, okay, I understand.
Which is why he was just standing there, and then suddenly he's just like, I gotta go. Because he was overheating from evolving too quickly.
Yes.
When he adapted and he grew in size, and they were like, it was because he was overheating that he went back into the ocean.
Oh yeah, because then eventually they figure out that Godzilla is like its own radioactive element. Oh my God. This is so good. Yeah. So they could have definitely prevented this before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was the lack of decisiveness. It was the passing of the buck. It was all this like bureaucratic like nonsense.
And there's also an element of the fact that they introduce him in a kind of what seems like more of a smaller port city. It's almost there's like this little like river that runs through it. Like basically it's like if he suddenly had arrived in Tokyo, they'd be like, no, take this thing out immediately. But because it sort of seems like it's on the outskirts, it's far away. They're like, we could kind of like not fast track this. We can sort of try to figure out what's going on. Do you know what I mean? There's like a sense that it felt like if it attacked a more opulent, central area, different response. I think there's a critique there too.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's like a lot of the rural areas in 2011 suffered a lot. I remember in particular there was I can't remember the name of the town. There was a mayor who spent like a lot of their town's budget on like higher like levee walls against like tsunamis, and the townspeople hated him for it because they're like, this is way higher than like it needed to be. Yada yada. You spent so much of our money. Fast forward to 2011, that town was kept safe because the guy like
These are actually
The real thing, he
size
kept
walls.
looking forward past what the regulations were. It's a lot of like interesting critique, I suppose.
Yeah.
I keep saying critique. It's like the way they like, yeah, the way they talk about, like the way they showcase the government in the earlier parts of the film is all, in my opinion, meant to be like a pretty stringent critique of like how the government functions currently.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was handed to them by the U.S. as like they rewrote their constitution, and how they operate is like based around U.S. government politics.
I think you bring up like a really fascinating point about this, because I was like, in a movie that is Godzilla, the way Godzilla is featured, it's not the prominent character. It's not the prominent action point of the movie. The prominent action point of the movie is these, and I have to say, the people, right? It's like all of these scenes are super fast paced, but you're seeing the bureaucratic wheels move slowly. But we're jumping from scene to scene to scene to scene in different conference rooms. The military is involved, ecological studies room, experts who don't know anything, blah, blah, and we're jumping around between all of these huge cast of characters. So I love how fast they're introducing this information, and that is so maddening because the information is being introduced fast, but decisions are not being made fast.
No.
But you're kind of seeing that like there's all this information that's just coming in, and yeah, I think it's such a funny way to underline it, that like Godzilla literally has time to evolve and become more and more dangerous. So much so to like fast forward all the way to the end, the final image of the movie is Godzilla's about to like give birth. Godzilla's about to like release other baby Godzillas.
The image of those
who
things
look
like
fucking gnarly. Yeah,
off. Oh god,
they're like xenomorph looking.
Yeah.
So you guys were like, probably
you're on the cusp of not making it.
Like not just not making it, like this would have been like a fucking nationwide.
This would have been a worldwide issue.
Right,
like,
man.
Miniature Godzilla's running around.
Right.
Like,
And how fast are they going to evolve? How big are they going to become, and how quickly?
Yeah.
I thought that was really fascinating. But yeah, your take on I think you're bringing up a really solid point here. Like, it's a very purposeful decision to present the story this way.
Yeah.
The story of a huge monster that's destroying towns and a nation, but we're going to talk about it through a lot of scenes in offices.
Yeah. Scenes in offices. The self-defense force, like, is interesting. Japan does not have a standing military, nor does it have it has a self-defense force, which is a extremely limited small scale like military forces, but they're not allowed to have military.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That was part of U.S. occupation. Is that?
Oh my God.
And so when they're constantly talking about like, we don't have enough firepower, like we have to mobilize the self-defense force, like it's because the U.S. gutted the Japanese military for a lot of reasons. But that's actually one of the frequent talking point. It was a common talking point back when I was in college, but it's a contentious one about Japan trying to expand its navy. And like, if you ever see the news where it's like Japan and China and Korea are all like toughing over like an island in the middle of the ocean, it's all tying back to like, where Japan's like, we want more boats, and the U.S. is like, I
don't know.
They're like, I mean, maybe you could have some boats, and then China and Japan are like, or China and Korea are like, don't give them more fucking boats. Like last time they had boats, they colonized like half of Asia. Like, it's a lot. But the self-defense force, like the reason why they don't go like, oh, our military is because self-defense force is very different. And that they don't have much. They had like every single one of their tanks lined up and fire at Godzilla. Was just not enough.
Not enough at all. And there's something about that too. This thing you're bringing up about just the involvement. Like once they started getting the other countries involved, and particularly the U.S., there are some like really polarizing things that you're kind of like. I realize like as a Westerner watching this, like a lot of the nuances and the more like prescient, immediate the ideas are like were lost on me, because I'm like, a dumb white Westerner being like, wow, okay, they got to make a lot of decisions. That's interesting. And then there's a point where, the first prime minister his helicopter gets blown up. So they appoint this other guy who's like chief of like he was like agriculture. Yeah. Which was like, perfect. Put this guy in charge. It was great. And he's so fucking funny. He's like, he has his first meeting and the meeting takes too long.
And he's like, my noodles.
My noodles got soggy. And he's like,
that's what got cut out of the American.
It's
so funny. And like,
he literally goes, like, everybody leaves the room and he goes, oh, my noodles got soggy. I knew this was going to be a tough job.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this guy's my idol. I love this guy. Put this guy in charge of everything. But he has this moment where, they've got this, like the dignitary to Japan from America is this Japanese American woman who I'll just say it's like they invited like a Japanese pop star into this movie. I think she's meant to be like kind of gorgeous and beautiful, because there's something about it that they're like, and again, this is, I apologize for objectifying, I'm just saying, but there's something about the presentation of it being like, oh, there's this sort of veneer of America. We're the good guys. We're the problem solvers. We're the heroes of the world. We look good. We look good to the world. Here, we're going to represent that by having this person who's like, some this supermodel walks into the room.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's something about the fact that it's all about optics. Oh, America is worried that if you guys don't stop Godzilla could come over to our shores. But actually also America is concerned that that this Godzilla could hurt the rest of the world, and America has to save the world. So we're going to bomb you guys in 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have 10 days to figure this out. And I thought that was like, what an interesting way to position it, right? And it's totally tracks. And then I was like, when this new prime minister goes, because I think it's like a separate meeting, and he goes like, I won't let another bomb
drop on
Japan. I was like, yeah, like that actually finally came home for me as like the Westerner watching, be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. This is of course where we were gonna get to eventually. That's the penultimate fear for the nation as in this current modern history. But just that idea of like the country suddenly losing its autonomy.
Yeah.
Everybody's involved.
Everyone's involved. You've already been stripped of your ability to act by yourself because the U.S. involvement post-war, and now being stripped of your ability to even defend yourself. And then lastly, being stripped of your ability to have like the center of your entire country just be like fucking obliterated.
Yeah.
Because also at a certain point when they had the U.S. Scientists come in and work with them, and they're like, well, we have a better understanding of nuclear energy than the Japanese do, and then they leave, right? And they don't share their research, right? That was like a jab as well. The U.S. Coming in post the Lucky Dragon 5 incident and taking all the research and hiding all of the research that they could have used to help them.
It's like this like this hoarding of knowledge is like leverage, which I think is very
versus
very
the
tough.
Netherlands being, or what was it, the computer,
the Germans,
somewhere in Europe, but they're like, let's just help them out.
We probably shouldn't let them in because these are protected channels. They shouldn't just. And
they're like,
let's see if maybe they have good intentions.
Fellowship and brothership in the world.
Well, Craig, our producer in the studio, is letting us know. I think it might be sandwich time. Look, we've talked a lot about politics. Let's get into the meat
of it.
Meat of it. Let's talk about Godzilla, Godzilla's evolution, and what it looks like. And to celebrate that, let's get into these Mamma Mia from Dan's Super Subs. Here we go.
Yeah, check that out.
Oh yeah. Oof. Wow.
Now imagine something double the size of this.
The next form, the evolution.
Yeah, the next evolution is trying to finish one of these. One of the jumbos and one going is crazy.
Wow. Dan Super Subs, I'm extremely stoked. So what's a Godzilla appropriate like cheers?
Kampai?
Kampai.
Kampai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ugh. I love an Italian sub like this. Wow. We're working with pickles, banana peppers, olive, tomatoes. Okay, those are just all the veggies in here. Then we've got what is it? Salami, capicola,
mortadella. I think
mortadella. We got a provolone cheese, lettuce. Fresh mayo. It's like so classic. Oh, and it's just like
there's also avocado in here too.
Oh yeah, there's an avocado
paste. Yeah,
paste. That's a nice touch. That feels very Californian. Thank you, Dan. Super Subs. Look at this. Look at that. That's incredible. The joy of having this podcast is an excuse to eat sandwiches. I feel like this is a perfect sandwich that for watching like a cozy afternoon, watching a horror flick, watching a couple, just having a treat yourself day. That's exactly it. Craig, how do you feel about the turkey? So good. Oh yeah. Classic. I love this. Oh, Dan Super Subs. How did this sandwich come into your life?
My ex introduced me to this place because it was near their home. They loved going to this place, and there was one time we were driving back to their area, and I was like, man, I really want a sandwich. And they're like, want to try these sandwiches? And we got the jumbos. And I was like, oh my God. It's flipping enormous is what it was.
It's like a foot.
More like your fucking thigh.
No, I meant like it's like a royal foot.
Oh yeah,
a
yeah.
toilet just-
No, it's enormous. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Subway footlong's got nothing on this place.
Hell yeah.
And it's very well known. Very like their sandwiches are really good. Every time I've gone there, physically the line is fairly long, no matter what
Mm,
time of the day I'm there. But it's a small little shop. But like, boy, howdy.
I love that.
Hmm.
Really takes me back to my roots eating Italian sandwiches in New Jersey.
There's no graceful way to eat these sandwiches either. You just kind of just fucking plow.
You just have to
through 'em.
commit, you know what I mean? You're gonna get messy.
Like shedding olives, like.
Shedding olives, shedding skin.
Yep.
Just
Trying to jam them back in there.
the mess of
Don't look at me too closely.
the mess of like the devastation of the cities. There's you know it's a messy sandwich. I feel like it goes well with the things just falling apart out of it. Okay, as we're enjoying our sandwiches, let us pivot into some big questions.
Hmm.
What do you think makes these movies scary? And particularly, what do you feel like this movie does at like giving us scenes of terror and making us afraid or aware? Where do you feel like it really lands the punch of this is something to be afraid of?
It's a lot of like the carelessness of man.
Yeah.
Like it was humans dumping shit that they shouldn't be dumping into the ocean. It's like the lack of knowledge, like
Mhm.
the unwillingness to be open and share information because you're so worried about somebody like stabbing you in the back with this information.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of Godzilla is the big scary monster. Godzilla's like the symptom of like human error.
Yeah.
think.
Here I feel like as Godzilla is evolving in their own way, the stories I think is evolving in the way it uses the Godzilla symbol.
Yeah.
Because it does. Yeah. Like maybe initially we're thinking of it almost as a force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like the repercussions of radiation, right? That's kind of throughout. But then eventually it feels like the movie's like, oh, hey, things are going to get worse because humans are not getting along.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we're not working together and we're not taking care of each other or the planet. Like
Hmm.
the scene where they're showing the Japanese social media and people are like, why is my Geiger counter going off? It's like right, it's like the unknown effects that like and this is like Godzilla is the consequence of us being careless, right? Being careless with like something really dangerous that we don't quite understand, where it's
Yeah.
like, well, here's this thing that is looking you in the face, and this is why like you need to understand what you're dealing with, what you're doing. You can't be thoughtless about this.
Hmm.
Because you watch them like every single time where they're like, oh, it can't walk on land, and then that one scientist and she's like, it's already walking, like
Mhm.
it will come to land. They're like, well, we don't want to panic people. It's like they should panic, like
Yeah.
you're not helping them.
I feel like that's such a curious strategy. Like I understand, like, but like a lot of times when you see in these movies, people in power are like, we need to control the flow of information so that people, quote unquote, don't panic.
Yeah. And
And
there's
it-
something to be said about like, you know, doing that, and also at the same time you watch it backfires so spectacularly where they look like idiots. Where
Yeah.
like the prime minister's like, there is no risk of it coming onto land. Somebody runs up, huh? It's
I
like,
just told him I
"Oh."
can't walk on land. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah. And then, but I mean, you can also see it as like politically, you want to control the narrative,
Mhm.
right? So that people, yeah, there isn't a collapse of society and people and lawlessness, but like that also seems to be a premise of this movie. Is like,
Information flow, it actually stymies people being able to help themselves.
yeah, if
Um,
like if you guys are not saying anything, people in power, what are humans? What are the rest of the civilians to do? Like, there's even a scene where people are like chanting "Save Godzilla."
Yeah.
Because they're like they think Godzilla is like some manifestation of a god. Like there's some kind
Yeah.
of a there's a quick like nod of like, yeah, people are going to resort to defining how to feel about this
Mhm.
if you're not giving them
Yeah.
some kind of a structure, some way to process this.
This is not a Japanese history related one, but in the Sewol ferry disaster in Korea, there's like
Oh, I'm not familiar with this. Tell me.
a ferry that was going to Japan from Korea, had hundreds of people on board, almost entirely made up of like this one high school. A lot of those kids
Oh.
died
Oh no.
because the ferry tilted, it was sinking. I'm gonna say it was
my
like
God.
2013. The captain told them to stay put. and was like, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. Like, stay put. And those kids stayed on that boat and they couldn't get out because at a certain point the boat tilted upside down. In the same, because they were like, we don't want to panic people, or like, we don't know. And the captain was a whole thing. The captain abandoned the ship first.
Oh my god.
Like a piece of shit. But in a similar vein where it's like, I don't know, sometimes like the bureaucracy was so much more interested in preserving its own like self in this film that like all these people were like falling to the wayside because they were so self-interested. Like the professors who were like, well, I don't want to make claims without studying it because I could lose my tenure or something like that. Whereas it's like they were so concerned about themselves. It's like, okay, but like
look at this. There's distraction happening right now.
There's like people who need help right now, and your like unwillingness to like stick your neck out is like really hurting people.
What do you think about these movies of like devastation that makes us think about like themes of hope? You know, like there's something about like natural disaster movies that they're like playing into like a certain kind of fantasy, right? It's like, well, what would it look like if
we work together?
Well, yeah, like, well, whoa, that's a crazy fantasy. That would never happen. No, but I remember in the 90s, there's, you know, Independence Day was huge, right?
Oh my God, yes. Independence Day, Armageddon,
right?
Deep Impact,
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But like, I remember Independence Day, you know, the commercials for it were playing on cable all the time, and like they loved to show in the trailer the scene when a beam of like alien laser beam
hits the
White House.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, whoa, that's what that would look like. And you're like, why are we interested in seeing that? Because like that is the symbol of, you know, this like American country. So you're like, why are we fascinated with seeing, you know, things get wiped out and destroyed, and like this interesting fantasy of what if the society, the place we live in, cease to exist? Like what's the thing you feel like is people are fascinated by in that?
I wonder if it's like less the fascination of like destruction, because there's a lot of like films where like disaster happens, so it's like surviving. Lately a lot of these disaster films feel less like, oh, far-fetched fantasy, and more like 30 days from now, what do we think? How are you feeling?
What's our ETA here?
Yeah, I'm like, it's gonna happen faster or slower? Like,
yes,
it's like the idea of like, well, we can work together, we can band together, like that, like even when all things are grim, we can still find hope in these like really dire situations, like that there's still like a chance for survival, right? Like it's like,
what's your honest attitude? Do you think there is a chance for survival? Do you think that there's a potential for hope? What's your mood literally today?
Mood today is pretty low. There's a lot of things happening in the world, and as a history student, boy, is it depressing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to live through interesting times. I wanted to study the interesting times and be a boring ass person. Like now, I didn't want to like. I saw this video recently where it's like all the like different majors in the school talking to each other. It's like the politics major is like freaking out. The like economics major is like depressed and like sad. And all these different people are like, the arts majors are like, oh, I'm having a great time. They're like, that's bad. That's bad. That you have a lot of they're like, I got so much things. I have so much content.
I got so much content.
And they're like, that's not good.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be that happy. And they're like, what about that guy? And they're like, they've been like that for a few years. It's the history major, like in the
like
corner, like rocking back and forth and screaming. And they're like, that's not good, is it? It's like, no.
It's so funny. Like when the artists have something to make art about, that you gotta watch out.
When they're like, the world is giving me something. The world is my canvas. It's like,
yeah. Are the artists bored? Good. Keep them.
Keep them bored. Keep them going to therapy. You know, work on your inner issues, not the world issues on your canvas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not feeling super hopeful.
No,
these
not
days.
really. I'm watching things that should have stayed in the books coming back. When it's like, how do we take the most common, easy, beat 'em up bad guy and bring them back into like, oh, people like
let's just have these people visible in the conversation.
Like zombie Nazis were like the easiest. Like you could throw a Nazi into anything. It's like, oh, fodder. Like guilt free killing.
Nazis bad.
Nazis bad.
Nazis bad.
Nazis bad. We fought a whole war. Nazis bad. but no, they're back again. I'm like, how are we here again?
Yeah. Come on, we all played Call of Duty.
We all play Call of Duty. Y'all learned the wrong thing from Call of Duty, which was that they want to drop nukes on everyone.
Oh my god.
Get 25 kill streak and drop a nuke. Like,
It's wild when you think about these big disaster movies too, is how they communicate to like the present day and like the present moment. Because I always find that with horror movies in general.
Yeah.
Horror movies they're scary and they have a scary connotation for the time they're made in.
Yeah.
You know, like it's interesting that Shin Godzilla was made in 2016.
Yeah.
It is. I think that it's got some timeless topics. It's got prescient things that it talks about.
things that were present back then that are still present today. Nuclear
Mhm.
allergy. Godzilla's skin is actually like a reference to nuclear things as well.
In much way.
So original Godzilla's skin is designed off of keloid scars, which are scars that you receive off of like intense burns. So they modeled it
Oh my
after the
God.
skin of like survivors from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where their skin looked like
Holy shit.
burbly and like bubbled and burnt. It in the same way Godzilla's skin and scales are burnt into that shape, which
Oh
is
my God.
really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like things like that that are always carried through, even when Godzilla is like, I'm fighting Mothra, you know,
Right. The
that
look.
skin, the
Mhm.
look of Godzilla is always like, there's a reason why he's not like a scaly lizard, right? It's this like the burn scars constant throughout every
Mm.
iteration of Godzilla, whether they lean into this message or not. But like the original intention of Godzilla's look is based off of the survivors.
Yeah. There's like a kind of the monster radiation coming
Mhm.
back to
Yeah.
like tell us it's not gone.
Yeah,
It's
and
here.
radiation fear was so big in Japan. Like the
Mhm.
survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki for many years didn't talk about where they came from. Like they were afraid to speak about it because people didn't understand how radiation worked.
Oh, I see. So people are like afraid, like, oh my god, if I stand
You're
next to you, I'm gonna get
contagious. Yeah.
or-
Kids had to lie. A lot of them came to the US.
Mm.
They didn't receive treatment. The estimated numbers that we see from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think it was like 70,000 in Hiroshima, 40,000 in Nagasaki. The numbers, if you count like ongoing sickness and stuff, it looks like 200,000 from Hiroshima and then
Yeah.
70,000 from Nagasaki. I might be swapping those two around. But like that sort of feeling is kind of still present in every iteration of Godzilla. I don't know, like just the way he looks will still carry that kind of.
Because
weight.
you're like, why does it look so weird?
Why does he look weird like
Yeah.
that? You look weird like that because that's what people look like.
I find this franchise and these like big movie. Well, I mean, you know, the two big ones are like Godzilla and King Kong, but like I love these franchises because you always wonder when you watch them, you're like, who came up with this? And you're like, oh, there's another movie before this. Oh, there's another movie before that. Oh, there's a dozen movies before that. And then you like it always makes you kind of go back in time and do the history check,
Yeah.
right? And then once you do that, you're like, oh, and you're kind of back to
Yeah.
the original intention, and you're back to, well, why does Godzilla look like this? You
Yeah.
know?
Standing on the shoulders of giants. There are a lot of things where it's impossible to talk about this thing without going back and talking or referencing in some way the
Yeah.
original person. Edwin Reischauer is like the grandfather of all Japanese and East Asian studies in the US. It's impossible to talk about like East Asian studies without referencing Reischauer, for example. He's like ever present and no matter what you do, because like even if you're not talking about him, his students became like the forerunners and like the forefront like historians of like Japanese studies or East Asian studies. Reischauer's like the McCune Reischauer Anglicization of Korean is that same Reischauer. He was also somebody who advised.
You're telling me this, and I'm like, you're blowing my mind right now. Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of this person,
The
but because
Harvard-
I've done so little research, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of those things where it's like one of these moments where I have to like check myself and be like, wow, there's a lot of history that I am not exposing myself to, but because not because I'm averse to it, but I think because of what
There's
is
just so much.
there's so much, but there's also this like what is considered the zeitgeist,
Yeah.
and what is like funneled to Western whites versus Westerners who are not, you know, white, and versus like people who are not Western.
Yeah.
It's like
And like a lot of there's a lot
the
of
way
classified
history is
documents.
packaged. Yeah.
And how who tells history is one thing, but like yeah, to just use Reischauer as an example of like there's even when you don't think you're talking about these original people, the echoes of what they have set up still like will carry through. No one really references Reischauer specifically anymore, but like John Dower is one of the most like, he's a super common name in World War II studies of like Japanese and US, like the Pacific region of the war. Like he is like the most famous person who's still kicking, I think. But like his teacher was Reischauer. So like to talk about Pacific War history means you're, even if you're not reading Dower, you're reading somebody who read Dower and is referencing Dower. And if you're reading Dower, you're referencing Reischauer. It's like even when you're going so far down, like you are still in some way like beholden or referencing or tied to the original.
Yeah, and you're really kind of making me, you're kind of inspiring me, and I wanted to just ask you, because you just remind me like this idea of making references and realizing, oh, this comes from this person, and that observation comes from this other person. There are so many movies, I think, that wouldn't exist without the creature feature concept. And I think Godzilla and King Kong, I feel like, are these movies that create this genre of just not necessarily, obviously the big monsters one thing, but even when the monsters are smaller, I think they owe a lot to these films, and it's wonderful to reinvestigate and remember like, oh, this came from a very from like a raw wound, but also from like a really deep idea, a notion about like what is significant to a society to be aware of, and so then you're like, when I think creature features are done well, they also try to tap into something deeper, and it's not just, oh, here's another monster running around.
Big monster, go
no,
burr.
It's about something, right? Yeah. There's a movie that this reminds me of a lot that I'd love to maybe cover on this podcast, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Host.
Yes. Where
with like this weird lizard frog fish thing, and it's got great echoes of Godzilla, but like. I'm just throwing that out because it is one of these films that again, the influences are so strong, and you can sometimes just go draw a direct line, but sometimes the influences are not necessarily that obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, things go through derivations, and sometimes there becomes a more prominent figure later down the line that becomes a sort of dominant understanding. Like Godzilla, the original Godzilla is not one that is like the 1954 version of Godzilla is not the one that people watch most frequently. What people think of when they think of Godzilla is like, they think of Godzilla fighting like Ghidorah and like Mothra or Mecha Godzilla,
right?
And that isn't just like say it's like I guess like a bad thing. It's just like things change, I guess,
and certain things stick in the popular like purview. Like different
things called to different people at different times. Like we're seeing a lot more Godzilla coming back and harkening into the old time. Godzilla minus one. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That movie, so good. When
Intense.
Godzilla first stomped, I was genuinely like shook. I was in fear watching original Godzilla. We weren't even that big.
You know what? These two movies back to back are really fascinating. Shin Godzilla 2, Godzilla minus one. Because one is like present day. The other one is just post World War II.
Immediately post war.
You're right aware clicking into what both of them are referring to.
Yeah.
Wow, Darby, I feel like we could just go off on Godzilla for a long time.
I was not kidding when I'm like, I have a lot of thoughts on Shin Godzilla.
Listen, you're a scholar with a capital S. Okay. We've come to the portion in the show where we have to cast this sandwich.
Yes.
So there's a million characters in this movie. And there's a lot of ingredients in this beautiful Mamma Mia from Dan's Super Subs. So I'm just going to refer to the order to get exactly all the ingredients, because we've got a lot to cast
they
here,
put
okay?
they put in so much.
All right. Well, we have a lot of things to cast, so I thought we would it's a good match. Okay. We're Mamma Mia. Okay, the Mamma Mia from Dan's Super Subs has Italian avocado spread, capicola, mortadella, cotto salami, dry salami, bologna, provolone, mustard, mayo, lettuce, tomato, olives, mild peppers, onions, diced pickles, salt, black pepper, olive oil, vinegar, oregano, and grated Parmesan. Get the fuck out. This is a lot of shit. Okay.
I also love he was like, mortadella, cotto salami, dry salami, bologna. Bologna.
Okay. Wow. Where do we start? That's a lot.
Well, I think often about the the scene where the second prime minister is like, my noodles got soggy.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the bread right now because the bread is like soaking up all of the sauce and the avocado right now.
Yep.
That he's feeling like the Minister of Agriculture is feeling like the bread right now.
Bread.
Yeah.
He's taking the brunt of this.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I love that. What about our main character, the one who keeps pushing the agenda?
Noguchi, I want to say he's like, I don't want to like group a bunch together, but it like reminds me of like the pickles and the like the banana peppers and the olives. It's sort of like that sharp, because like I love Italian sandwiches, but like if I don't have like something acidic to kind of like break up the thing, it's becomes so heavy. And so he's like against this like really heavy bureaucracy. He's like a sharp little bite in there.
The
like,
food comma bureaucracy.
Yeah, the comma, the like the thing to be like, oh, like, and now I can keep going, right? He like keeps it going because you're like kind of hunting. At least for me personally, I'm always hunting for the next like bite of pickle to kind of even out the flavor. I guess.
Oh my god! Listen, I come from Eastern Europe. We love pickled shit.
Yeah, pickled stuff is great. Kimchi, right?
Oh my god, yes.
Like love kimchi. You gotta have something to balance like heavy things.
Yes.
Acidity helps. Like it also helps cut through fat and like meaty things. It's like
right. He's like, I'm gonna get you through this sandwich.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut through. We're gonna cut through all the fat and like we're gonna get right to the heart of the issue, right. Which is your stomach.
Incredible. The stomach is the issue.
Yeah,
I love it. So we're saying he's like the pickles or the banana peppers.
Yeah, one of the acidic like sharp things that kind of help.
Yeah, yeah. What about our kind of main character, the titular Godzilla? Here's what we could also do. We can group a lot of the characters into just categories.
Yeah, I'm grouping like most of the government into meat.
Okay, they're the meat. Okay.
Yeah, because like they make up the majority of the movie. Like most of the screen time is not spent on like Godzilla, right? It's like spent on the bureaucracy. It's like the message. It's like the people, right? The individuals working together as a team. Where it's like all this meat is. You could talk about the individual meat, but like all together, this is Italian sandwich. Just like one solid slab of meat. Like it's so hard to see because there's also so much stuff here.
You're like the bureaucrats.
You literally just roll all this meat together into like one giant tube.
And they're all talking over each other.
They're always like on top of each other, but they all work together.
Yes.
I feel like government is like
that's lovely.
Government is meat.
Government is meat. Fantastic.
Godzilla is like. Am I thinking like the sauce?
I was gonna say that because he's kind of messy, right?
Messy. He's all
or
over
she's messy. We're not sure. Well, this Godzilla's pregnant, so
yeah, they're like all over the place. They're always present throughout the entire thing. They are
literally. I feel like my lips are kind of glistening from
I'm
the
like
sauce.
Constantly like wiping myself down like a little raccoon. Like I'm just like stuff on my hands.
But the wake of Godzilla's disaster is a lot like the sauce just spilling out of her.
Yeah.
So do we think it's the what is the Italian avocado spread?
I honestly am thinking like the olive oil vinegar sort of thing because it's like it's so like I mean even thinking just like the blood gushing out of Godzilla where it's like the sauce is dripping out of my fucking sandwich right now. It's just like very present, very like right ties it together.
Okay, she's just all sauce. Godzilla's all sauce. Oh, I love that. Okay, so who are we left with? Do we want to say that the scientist, the group of I love also when the external experts are invited, and it's like you're all rebels, freaks, and nerds, and you're gonna solve this. And I'm like my people. I get these guys.
Yeah.
So that group, the nerds that saved the day. Do you feel like they're personified by any particular ingredient here best?
I was actually I said the government earlier. I think they are the meat. Like
maybe they're the meat. Yeah,
the scientists are the meat because they're the ones that are like they're all these weird things that like there's like salami, mortadella, bologna. Like there's like all these different kinds of meats, but like put together they work together.
If I could pitch, I think the government could be the cheese.
Yeah,
government cheese. They're all wearing base suits. Very, very
They're like one layer.
One layer. Yeah, that's true, and they're kind of unilaterally. Kind of helpless until the meat shows up.
Kind of replaceable too.
Yes,
like you could take them out.
You could.
You didn't need.
I mean, it would be a shonda to have an Italian sandwich without cheese. But honestly, if you run out of cheese, you'd be like, okay, you can do without the meat.
Yeah.
So you know what? I love that. The nerd scientists are the meat.
Yeah.
I think then we're really just left with
like lettuce,
tomatoes, olives. the tomatoes have like a red, white, and blue. The tomatoes, the American.
The U.S. The U.S. is the vegetables, where they're like, yeah, this is also here. Like,
yeah.
they had the backdrop, like
It's a little bit
texture.
like they're like, we're here for your health,
Yeah.
but also we're tomatoes and lettuce, so we don't do a lot of health.
You're here for like the texture of America being present in this film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're also here. You kind of notice us. You'll notice us if we're not here, but like when we are here, take it or leave it.
Yeah, true. And I mean, I've got a lot of friends who don't do a tomato on the sandwich. You know.
I love tomatoes.
Me too.
They're so
I love
good.
it. Yeah. Okay. I think we've done it.
Yeah.
We cast it.
Woo.
Woo! Well done. Oh, Darby, what a delight to have you here with us. Super excited to have you in the studio. Super excited to get a chance to talk with you. Honestly, Darby, I feel like I could talk about this like all day long with you. Would love to have you back on the show to discuss anything else. Honestly, that's kind of all the time we have right now. Darby, what do you got going on? Where can people find you? Where can people become, followers of Professor Darby Pak?
Professor Pak. Yeah. Well, you can find me on the internet as Chaotic Darby, under most places. Blue Sky, technically speaking, Instagram, and some other places. If you can't find me there, I don't have a handle. If you can't find me there, I'm not there. But you can find me on the internet doing stuff like that.
What are some projects and stuff that you're excited about right now?
Oh boy, all my projects are like in progress.
Oh,
like
okay.
I can't super talk. Although I guess we have the Hunter game is coming out soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be coming back at some point. Yeah, we stream with Emporium for the Wavered Gamer, run by Jay Neofet on the socials. We're running a Hunter the Reckoning game for all the nerds out there. If you guys know what that means, if you know, you know.
If you know, you're really cool, and if you don't, you can be cool if you find out.
That's right. Yeah, and you can get schooled at Geeky Teas any day of the week. Darby's there most days. Yeah, and along with that, there's like just a lot of like secret things that are going on.
A lot of projects that are like in the works, so I don't have like release dates for them yet or like names for the projects, but you can catch me around doing that sort of thing. I think the panel is on a WonderCon, just got put up on YouTube for Just the Human. I did a panel at WonderCon for it was exploring identity through character creation in TTRPGs. That panel just went up on YouTube, so if you want to hear that, you can see it there.
Amazing. I'm gonna drop all the links in the show notes.
Yeah, I think that's like it for the newest of stuff that I can talk about. A lot of NDAs.
Wow, so there's a lot going on in the background. So to stay in touch
really
with Darby, find them at Chaotic Darby, and that's also your website, right? chaoticdarby.com.
I think it's chaoticdarby.card.
Oh, you're cool like that because you're cool. Right, got it.
Well,
Darby, it's been an absolute blast to have you on. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you join us next time. And until then, stay hungry and stay scared.